Trump downplaying the threat to the United States from the coronavirus tonight, saying the government has it under control.
A few hours after he said that, California confirmed the very first case in someone who is a resident of California who did not visit China and doesn't know anyone who did and doesn't know anyone who was infected. It's a new and very big concern tonight. And here are the very latest numbers. There are over 82,000 total cases around the world with over 2,800 deaths. Tonight, the U.S. is reporting 60 cases of coronavirus. That includes Americans diagnosed here and abroad.
KCAL 9's Randy Page joins us now with the response here in the U.S. Randy.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about this new case. It's very troubling because we have to remember that people can have the virus and have no symptoms. So you can be infecting people and have no idea you're doing it, and that makes it so hard to trace. Tonight, the Centers for Disease Control dropped a bombshell. They're reporting the first case of coronavirus in the United States involving a patient who hasn't left the country or who's come in contact with someone who has been overseas, has been identified. And that infected person is in Solano County near Sacramento. This newest case provides the context for the president's address from the White House today.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
This is a rare sight. The president behind the podium in the White House press room for the second time in his presidency. This time, joined by the administration's health officials, the president spoke about the success he has made in slowing down the spread of the coronavirus in the United States.
Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low.
Today, the Centers for Disease Control announced one new case of the coronavirus has shown up in Northern California, bringing the total number of cases in the U.S. to 60. The president is using the number 15, saying the other infections involved Americans on a cruise ship in Japan and a few who were infected in China.
Of the 15 people, the original 15 as I call them, 8 of them have returned to their homes, to stay in their homes until fully recovered. 1 is in the hospital, and 5 have fully recovered, and 1 is, we think, in pretty good shape, and it's in between hospital and going home.
The president announced Vice President Mike Pence will be in charge of the U.S. response to the potential pandemic. He'll be working with Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar, who made a more ominous assessment of the potential spread of the virus in the United States.
The degree of risk has the potential to change quickly, and we can expect to see more cases in the United States.
This is a good time to prepare.
Ann Schuchat, Deputy Director of the CDC, explained how the coronavirus infects victims and what you can do to protect yourself.
The coronavirus that we're talking about is a respiratory virus. It's spread in a similar way to the common cold or to influenza. It's spread through coughs and sneezes. And so those everyday sensible measures that we tell people to do every year with the flu are important here. Covering your cough, staying home when you're sick, and washing your hands.
Dr. Anthony Fauci at the National Institutes of Health said the development of a vaccine is on the fast track, but is still 6 months to a year away from being ready. But an antiviral drug is being tested right now that could help treat those who are infected.
We will know reasonably soon whether it works, and if it does, we will then have an effective therapy to distribute.
As for the plunge in the stock market over the past few days, the president said fear of the coronavirus wasn't the only reason. He also blamed the Democrats.
I think the financial markets are very upset when they look at the Democrat candidate standing on that stage making fools out of themselves. And they say, if we ever have a president like this, and there's always a possibility, it's an election, you know, who knows what happens, right? I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win by a lot. But when they look at the statements made by the people standing behind those podiums, I think that has a huge effect.
Tonight, one of the candidates the president is talking about, Michael Bloomberg, gave his assessment of the president's response to this potential pandemic.
If number one, he fired the pandemic team 2 years ago. Number two, he's been defunding Centers for Disease Control, so we don't have the experts in place that we need. I hope he's right that the virus doesn't come here, that nobody gets sick. That would be a wonderful outcome. But the bottom line is we are not ready for this kind of thing. We are as exposed to this kind of thing as we've ever been, probably more so.
Today, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had this to say.
What he's doing is late too late, anemic. Hopefully we can make up for the loss of time.
The president's response?
I think she's incompetent, and I think she's not thinking about the country.
The Sacramento area patient is in intensive care at UC Davis tonight and is in isolation and is responding to treatment. It's worth noting since February 2nd, more than 8,400 people returning from China have entered California, according to the state health department. They've been told to quarantine for 14 days and limit contact with other people as much as they possibly can.
Brandy, thank you.